call. Yeah.
Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome to my review of The Sacrament, a movie from 2013 that was directed by Ty West, and it's heavily based on the Jonestown Massacre from 1978, where a cult leader named Jim Jones wiped out a whole bunch of people by making them all drink poison. So this film tells the story of a small-time documentary crew, and one of the guys, his sister, has gone out to live at this place called Eden Parish, which is essentially this tiny little community that's led by a guy who simply goes by the name of Father, and they're totally self-sufficient. It's mostly like recovering alcoholics and drug addicts, people like that. So the documentary crew heads out to this place, which is in an unknown location. It seems to be a country outside of America, and yeah, once they get there, things seem to be idyllic until stuff starts turning sinister. Now, the reason why I'm reviewing a movie from 2013, look, I saw this movie many years ago, and I do recall really enjoying it. I don't know if that's quite the word to use, but I really dug the movie, and I only just rewatched it now. Like, I have literally just finished rewatching it for the first time in all these years, and I just felt compelled to talk about it because this is a movie that not enough people know about. This is a really underrated flick. So the whole film is done, I mean, it's incorrectly labeled as a found footage movie. It's not. It is done like a documentary, but yeah, I can't really sort of go into too many specifics because I don't want to spoil this film, but yeah, it's definitely not a found footage film. And that being said, the documentary style that they gave it was most of the time rather authentic. Not just in terms of like camera setups and things like that, but the performances in this film are absolutely amazing, from not just the lead cast, but all the community members. Like, everybody delivers a really solid and believable performance. I think the standout for me was definitely the guy who played Father, who, in a really great twist of irony, his name is Gene Jones. This guy's been in a few other movies like Hateful Eight and No Country for Old Men, and my God, he just sells this character beautifully. There's one scene in particular where he's being interviewed in front of the whole congregation at night, and the performance he gave in that was so authentic and just compelling. It was a really interesting character, and you kind of get why all these people are, basically giving this guy their lives. But the overall story in this, oh man, it's tense. This is a really, like I said, it is a hard movie to watch. If you know about the Jonestown Massacre, which, let's face it, everybody does, it's not that big a spoiler. You know what's going to happen in this film, and yeah, there's some really difficult scenes to sit through in this. But at the midpoint of the film, like, it was a really well-structured story. The very midpoint of the film, which is where our main characters find out that things aren't quite what they seem to be in this place, that really starts adding the tension. And when they know that there is something going on in this place, there's that whole thing of like, they've got to get out of there, but there's something holding them back, and you just really feel for these people. But yeah, oh my God, man, when it gets to the scene, the Kool-Aid scene, wow, yeah, it's realistic. All the deaths in this film, and there's a lot more than just the Kool-Aid stuff. Like, with the Jonestown Massacre, there were gunmen going around and killing people who were trying to escape and stuff. And yeah, you get all that in this film, and it's not easy to sit through. Like, there were legit some moments I was sitting there with my hand over my mouth, just like, oh, wow, yeah, it's hard. But that's why I wanted to talk about it, because it's one of those horror movies that, if you're a fan of horror, you kind of know what to expect with this sort of stuff. And, it is fun to watch these sort of things in a way, like a really weird, twisted kind of way. Please don't judge me. And really, the only thing that did kind of let this movie down a little bit for me was, like, I thought it was quite clever the way that, you know, it was a documentary team going in, which kind of establishes why it's done in a whole documentary style. Like, it gives a reason why the cameras are there. But once things start going down and, you know, chaos erupts, it was a little bit less believable to think of, you know, where certain cameras were being placed and by who. Like, I don't know, it was just a little implausible at times. And while Tyler Bates is one of my most favorite movie musicians, I just don't know if this movie really needed a score. Like, the score was good and it definitely added to the atmosphere, but in doing so, it also brought down the believability that what you're watching is a documentary. Yeah, it just kind of, you know, put it more into like a Hollywood movie sort of category. And also, I guess, look, it could be argued that there wasn't really much of a point to this film. Like, you know, you do kind of get like an overall sense of being really happy with, you know, your own life and, you know, with what you have and things like that. But yeah, overall it did kind of feel a little bit like an exploitation film. But when you look at Ty West's other films, or some of his other films, including the absolutely excellent House of the Devil, you do know that this guy, he does kind of have a little bit of a foot in the door of exploitation kind of films, like harking back to things from the 70s and 80s. So yeah, it is kind of justified in that sort of way, but just don't go into this expecting that it's, you know, gonna kind of make you really rethink your own life or anything like that. It's just anti-entertainment. So that being said, look, if you get a chance to somehow check out The Sacrament, make sure you do. If you're a horror fan, definitely check it out. It is a really gripping film. It's hard to watch at times. And yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's interesting to see in a way, you know, what kind of happened with the Jonestown Massacre. And I'm going to give The Sacrament an 8.5 out of 10. Alrighty, so if you guys have seen The Sacrament, I would love to know what you guys thought of it. Like, I'm doing this video, it's, you know, it's not a latest release or anything, it's just I want to get this out there so I can talk to people who have seen this movie. So, yeah, look, if you've seen it, let me know what you thought of it, and if I've now convinced you to check it out, yeah, by all means, let me know when you're planning on watching it. So drop me some comments either here, Facebook, or Twitter. All the social media links are in the description below, because I like to talk about movies, and I would love to talk about movies with you. Catch you next time.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.